Hi everyone. It's a great honor to be here with such a distinguished gathering. Honestly, it is a real challenge to figure out what I'm doing here. We have such accomplished speakers, and then we have me. I'm the cookie lady, or the smart cookie, as Sindhu just said. For most of you, I don't know who knows about me. I'm the founder and owner of Swedish House Mafia, and I bake cookies, which are different from biscuits because biscuits, well, they're much tougher and you hear them crack, and cookies are more melty. Anyway, so I'm just going to talk about my journey here and the challenges that I faced along the way. Let me give you a little bit of a background about myself. I come from a Marwari business family, born, brought up in Bombay, studied at Cathedral, and the natural progression of things assumed that I would go abroad to study. Now, my parents decided that, no, Neha, you cannot go unless you go to Wharton Business School. Well, I didn't get in. So they were like, yeah, no, you're not going. And I could have easily given up at that point and said, oh my God, now I'm not going abroad. What will I do? I'll have to go to college in Bombay. But no, instead I decided that I'm going to beg them and plead them and get on my knees and convince them that, okay, I'll do college at Berkeley for a year, and then I'll transfer to Wharton after that. So I did exactly that. I went to Berkeley, then transferred to Wharton, gave up lovely, sunny California and Berkeley for cold, competitive, very serious Wharton. But that's what I'd chosen to do. That's what I promised them I'd do. So that's what I did. Now, these may seem like very small, trivial issues or challenges for a very lucky girl who was fortunate enough to get into these colleges and who had a family who was backing her up. But perspective is a great thing. At the age of 19, these were real challenges for me. To get into a good school, it was a real challenge for me. So things just, you see them differently at different ages. Another thing, you never know what you're going to like or not like unless you try it. I gave finance a go, and I realized very soon on that it wasn't for me. But I gave it my all. I did my 4 years at Wharton. I worked at an investment bank, got my degree, everything. And yeah, no, it wasn't my style at all. But, whatever, it goes on. So the economic meltdown happened. I lost my job, my company shut down, so I was on a one-way ticket back to Bombay. Again, you know what? I was very scared at that point, and Jayesh mentioned that he came back and he was very excited about the prospects of leaving everything from Hollywood and coming back and starting a new job. And for me, I'm coming back and I'm petrified because I don't know what I'm going to do. So there's your perspective thing all over again. Like for him, it was exciting. For me, it was petrifying and a big challenge because here I am. I've lost my job. I am unemployed. I have spent 4 years gathering skills and working at a place. And basically, I do not intend to continue on in that career. It's just checked off my list as things that I could possibly do. So it's a very trying place to be in. Those were the dark days, as you can call it. I was a great student. Going to Wharton is not easy. Great student, good leader. Throughout school, I had a purpose in life. And here I was, like, with no goal in mind, no idea what I'm going to do. I used to, get up in the morning and think, oh, no, okay, now what? What do I do with the rest of my day? It's very difficult when you go out and people ask you, oh, so what do you do? I had no answer. None. That's a very, very scary place to be in. But throughout all of this, I had my baking. Who likes baking? Oh, yay, a lot of people. And who has a massive sweet tooth besides the people who love baking? Oh God, I have a massive sweet tooth. It is so bad. So that's what I did. I decided that, okay, I cannot work, so I'm just going to eat a lot of stuff that I made for myself. Yeah, if no one else ate it, it's fine. I'll just eat all of it myself. So, but that was not a good thing. So I decided that I'll bake and I'll not eat everything and give it to my friends. And my family obviously said, no, Neha, thank you very much. You eat and you give your friends, but we will not eat that. So I said, okay, fine. But anyway, so they all loved it. My family, whatever little they took, loved it. My friends loved it. With each bite, they loved it more. With each little chunk, they said, okay, Neha, do something with this. You've got a gift. You have to share this with Bombay. Do something, do something, do something. And I said, like, no, how can I do something? I'm not a baker. What do you expect me to do? I have no experience, no background, no formal training, nothing. It was something very personal to me. It was my identity. It was what I related with. I thought I was good. So if I was good in my head, then I'm going to be happy with that. If I go and do it with the world, then what if someone doesn't like it? Then what? Then who will I be? It'll be, oh no, Neha doesn't even know how to bake. She just doesn't do anything. So it's like, no, I was like, no, I can't. But then I thought, okay, subconsciously, that if I keep this whole enterprise or operation of mine anonymous, then people, if it didn't work out, people wouldn't say, oh, that's Neha Sethi, the failure. They just wouldn't know. So I could fade away, wallow away in my misery, and no one would be the wiser. So I decided to do that. Gave up my name for a little leap of faith, which I would start with my nano, because it was just a passion project. It wasn't going to be my career or anything. I was just doing it while I figured out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. So I started this thing off. Now, let me just give you a quick overview of what SHM is all about. It is Swedish House Mafia. That's the name of my company. It's a little take on Swedish House Mafia, which is what had come out then. It's a band. Anyway, so Swedish House Mafia is very simple. It's a teeny tiny nano food truck which goes around Bombay City selling cookies at delivery locations and times that are decided the day before. And people who want to buy these cookies just follow us on Twitter and Facebook and get their details online. It's very simple. It worked from my home kitchen. I worked with 5 Bajaj countertop ovens and 1 domestic staff, and it was a very small operation. But it really blew out of proportion. Very, very quickly and just completely unexpectedly, probably because of the anonymous baker, the catchy name, the food truck, the delicious products. It was probably a bunch of things. And it really took off. Like, media publications covered it, Hindustan Times and Times of India, India Today, radio and TV interviews, everything, It has become a craze. There was a time my friend told me that she was waiting in line to get a cookie because she didn't understand what the hype was about. She didn't know it was me back then. So she's like, what is this? Like, what is the hype? I'm just going to go and get a couple of packets. So she got it, and while handling her change, 1 packet fell down. Now you'd think, okay, it's a packet. But everyone who was standing in line was like, oh my God, what did she do? She dropped a packet of cookies. Is she mad? You only get 2 cookies and she has dropped 1. And she's looking around, she's thinking ahead, what's wrong with you people? It's a cookie. It's just 1 cookie. Like, get over it. So, but that's what SHM had done to Bombay. It was everywhere. There were people coming down from Bandra to South Bombay to get a cookie. I was getting fan mail saying, you are getting people together because of you're spreading such sweetness. I had a to-be father who'd come from Breach Candy Hospital to satisfy his pregnant wife's cravings. It was really good stuff. It was really sweet. And there's a story actually about a crazy time one monsoon night when I did a delivery, which was not supposed to be there. So I did a very last minute, sent a few cookies, not a few, but yeah, I sent very little cookies, and the nano was ambushed. It was crazy. The cops came, shooed it away. There were kids in the mix. Some celebrities, bodyguards came and picked up this whole bunch of cookies from the car. And everyone's like, what's going on? They paid, but it was just out of line. And my staff would think oh, celebrity, which one? No, he was almost in tears. He said, what is going on? Please, everyone leave. It was crazy. So yeah, but through all of this, the actual challenge of all of this was actually admitting to myself that this was now my career. This is now what I did. It's what can it's not something that I did not expect it. I could not cope with the demand. It was very difficult. Like I said, I was working from home with small chutku ovens. I was sending 100 cookies, more than 100 people would show up. Some people would be very happy that they got it, and then some people would be like, wait, Neha, not Neha, they didn't know it was me. They'd be like, wait, what the hell? We didn't get our cookies. What are you doing? You should send more. So I said to myself, and I said, okay, this is not going to work. I either have to, just shut this operation down or ramp up. So obviously the next progression was to open a shop. And that has its fair share of challenges. You know, it's not easy just opening a shop. Especially, I was actually pregnant at the time, so it was like, okay, you're going to, it was, you know, I don't know, like mothers over here know how you go all hormonal and everything when you're pregnant. So opening a shop amidst all of this was really crazy. I opened the shop, I opened the shop a month before I delivered my baby. So I was in my 8th month. That was challenging. That was challenging. But besides all that, there were challenges that I faced in my head, like, what, would it do well? Would I be able to manage the same consistency? So those are things also that you have to accept and go with the flow, because if I did not accept it, then, you know, I wouldn't see SHM through, I wouldn't give it its due, it wouldn't be right, because it deserved so much more. I had to face it. And now I'm very proud to say that we have 2 stores with a 3rd one on the way, and all our customers, we're trying to managing to keep them happy. Thank you. We have people who, you know, come in for the first time after they've delivered the baby. The first outing they've taken us to the store. It's that crazy. We have another person who actually saw in the store. He didn't know it was me. He came and he hugged the counter. He said, "Oh my God, I like these Suki so much," and he came and hugged the counter. And I'm just like sitting in the corner and snickering. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. But yeah, that's how much people love it. So, you know, all the challenges or whatever little things that I did, maybe they're not challenges for some people. Maybe they were just small little things that I did, and I felt were big things when I was 19, and now maybe they're laughable, but they were big for me then. And you know, that's the thing about challenges. Like, you just have to accept them and go with the flow and try to overcome them. And sometimes you don't even know they're a challenge, but you just unknowingly, haphazardly stumble past it. But the main thing in all of this is that you have to get up and give it a go and give it your best and don't give up. Because at the end of the day, I think that's the real challenge, like not giving up. That's the real challenge. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me here, and it's great talking to all of you. Thank you. I would have loved to bring some cookies, but I'm so sorry they wouldn't. But you must come to Bombay and try them fresh. We are working on that. Thank you.